Today I'm going to show you guys exactly how fast Accutane works because I took a video every week I was on it for over a year. I'm really hoping that this is going to be helpful for anybody who's considering taking Accutane to get a realistic idea of how long it takes and what to expect with things like the initial breakout period. Let's get into it.
Welcome to my Accutane journey. What this series will be is every Monday I'm going to update you on how my progress is going on Accutane.
Alright, with week 1, take a good look at my face because this is the starting point. Memorize this face, get used to it. I have a few nodular cysts there, with my largest one on the forehead. I've got lots of pimples, really just all over, and I would say a medium amount of blackheads just peppering my entire face.
So welcome to week 2 of my Accutane adventure.
Now week 2 is looking pretty much the same as expected. It takes some time for Accutane to really build up in your blood and reach full saturation. So let's move on to week 3.
But yeah, I have all these breakouts.
Week 3, we're starting to see a change, but not necessarily for the better. You can see some of the same spots from week 1 are now more inflamed, and we've also got a few new buddies, a couple new breakouts. Macrocomodone!
They're upping my dose from 40 milligrams a day to 80 milligrams a day.
Alright, now things are starting to get interesting. We're 1 month in, and this is where the initial breakout starts kicking in. This means that I've now built up enough Accutane in my body for it to start taking effect, and this is what you have to be prepared for. You can see that some of the same cystic spots from week 1 are still there, like the one on my forehead, but with the addition of some new cysts and some new spots. Side by side, my acne is looking much more severe compared to just 1 month ago when I started. You have to be ready for the initial breakout period. Now, before we move on to week 6, I want to mention that if you're dealing with breakouts right now and are considering taking Accutane, I highly recommend checking out my acne program, theacnemethod.com first, because a lot of people are going to be able to skip all the side effects, all the initial breakout pain, all of everything that comes with Accutane by just finding out what the source of your acne is directly by following the program. Tons of people have already seen results. Check out the success stories and the testimonials on the website. Now, let's get back to the video.
If you have like a little zit, a little chin zit, and you're like, oh, I hope everyone's not looking at it, just be like, huh, Brian's walking around with a giant reindeer comodome on his head, and he doesn't care, and people love him.
All right, moving forward to week 6, I'm starting to get some really dry lips, eyes, mouth, but my initial breakout is still happening. I can't say if it's necessarily gotten worse, but it certainly hasn't gotten much better yet.
This is week 9 and things are looking up. No, they're not. This is the worst week of breakouts yet. I've got cysts all over my face.
Over 2 months into this, and like you saw, things still haven't started improving. This is the worst week so far. I've got lingering cysts from previous weeks, and now I've developed one on my cheek that hurts all the time. It literally would throb when I was working out or when I was in the heat. My skin is getting drier, it cracks constantly. Sometimes I'll even bleed when I smile really fast, and I definitely am burning almost instantly when I go into the sun.
I have a very large forehead cyst that seems to keep filling back up. The blackheads underneath, like all my regular skin, is starting to come out, and they're just coming out and popping themselves. I don't really have to push on them, they just fall out. And I have another huge cyst right here.
Week 12, I don't know if you caught that, but I said my forehead cyst kept filling back up, which means I was popping those suckers. This was a huge mistake because while still in the initial breakout period, your body is just ready to be inflamed. Everything inflames even easier than normal. So when you use a lot of pressure to pop a pimple, it swells up, it gets even bigger, and it sticks around for even longer. This week was the first time I thought I started to see improvements in other areas. So let's see what happens next. Let's see if we're done with the initial breakout period. Week 14, 2 weeks later, and maybe things are getting slightly better. Honestly, it's really hard to tell. Still looking really inflamed, still looking really red, so let's move forward.
So I just had my first official acne extraction in my forehead, but this is what it looks like. You can see it's still kind of bleeding a little bit.
A month later, now we're on week 18, and I think this is where my initial breakout is finally starting to go away. I'm still really broken out, but things are not getting worse each week, so I guess you have to count your blessings.
I have none of those other side effects that some people report. No anxiety, anything like that. I'm completely fine. I'm actually really happy and just doing well. I don't know.
Now we're talking. On to week 20, and I feel like we're now starting to see a big change from just 2 weeks ago, and definitely a huge difference from the peak of the initial breakout. We can still see the same cysts on my forehead and cheeks. They haven't gone away. They are improving, but they're sticking around. Other than that, everything is looking a bit less inflamed, a bit less red, and now my blackheads are starting to be more spaced out. So here's both week 22 and week 23 side by side. Even more progress. It's moving along nicely.
My cheeks, my upper cheeks have not cleared up, and this part of my forehead is just being stubborn.
Week 28. Now, there's something else I really want to point out. After your initial breakout period is finally over, you'll start seeing linear progress every week. But then, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you might just hit a wall like I did. For over a month, my acne hasn't gotten better and maybe has even gotten worse. Now, there's a lot of different reasons why this can happen, but one could be that you're doing something that's causing acne at a bigger and faster pace than the Accutane can get rid of it.
I got these two spots, bada boom, bada bang. One's white, the other one is just chilling, it's a lump. And then I got this whole little fangled mess.
Another month goes by, it's week 32, and again, not a lot of changes. So let's go forward another month. It's week 36, and again, not a lot of change. Sort of starting to be a bit of a trend here. So let's just jump past this phase to when we finally do start seeing progress again.
And now that brings us to where we are now. What we're doing is we're trying to clear up the blackheads, and pretty much the last spot that we're trying to get them out of is my forehead.
Sweet, sweet progress. So what happened? How did I finally kickstart progress again? Well, my doctor was getting really frustrated, as was I. I was on the highest recorded dose of all time at 240 milligrams a day, which is 10 times the average dose. And still, we were stuck for months, no progress. So he finally suggested to me that some of his other clients who lifted weights stopped consuming whey protein. So I took that advice very literal. I took it to the next level, and I just cut out all dairy entirely. It's like I said before, I had to stop causing my acne at a faster rate than the Accutane could get rid of it. And for me, dairy was a huge cause of my cystic acne. Once I took it out, I started seeing progress again.
This week, I definitely why am I even saying kind of? I definitely binged really hard on dairy.
Here's a perfect example. I got comfortable with my progress and decided to try dairy again, and boom, immediately new spots are appearing on my face. Lesson learned. After this week, I cut dairy out all the way, except for one time about a year after Accutane, where I just got really comfortable. I tried another dairy experiment and immediately got new cysts. So at that point, that was the very last time I ever had dairy, still to this day.
I went to my dermatologist on Tuesday and talked to him about continuing the Accutane treatment, and he was all for it. So what we're doing is we've dropped it from 100 milligrams to 80 milligrams a day, and we're just gonna continue doing what we've been doing.
All right, we're almost clear, but my doctor wanted to finish with just a few more months on a lower dose.
It's completely clear on the sides, and my cheeks are just, there's nothing at all. Just a little bit of like holes, a little bit of scarring, and maybe a few blackheads here or there. And then really the only thing that's standing out is this little forehead cyst that I had.
There we go. The moment we've all been waiting for. My skin is finally starting to get that smooth texture. And I'll be honest with you, at this point, I had completely given up the hope of getting skin that had this smooth of texture. I was just hoping that the cysts would stay away, and honestly, I was hoping that most of my blackheads would go away. But with some changes to my diet, consistency, a lot of patience, we achieved this result, which is seriously so rewarding. I ended up taking Accutane for another 6 weeks for a total of 83 weeks in a row. Insane. What I wasn't really prepared for was having acne scarring after I got rid of my acne. I thought it was gonna be, time to celebrate, right? But then all of a sudden I had a new set of insecurities, and that's something that you have to be prepared for, right? You like just aren't thinking that far forward, and sometimes not being prepared for it can really crush your confidence again. So I had rolling and boxcar scars on my cheeks and my forehead, and have quite a few videos that go deep into detail on how I got rid of them exactly. But long story short, I've been using Banish's entire lineup, and I've seen massive improvements, probably about, I'd say 60 to 70% better since I started using Banish. And If you guys follow the channel, you know I'm a huge Banish fanboy. Seriously, I don't think there's any better brand for scars, hyperpigmentation, and redness. So if you want to check out their products, you can definitely use my code Brian5 for a discount, and I'll of course put the link below. So there you have it. I seriously hope that this video was either interesting or really helpful for you. And if it was, drop a comment and let me know if you've ever taken Accutane before or if you're planning on taking Accutane. Of course, also give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already so you can get more skincare tips and videos like this one. And remember that you are not alone, you are beautiful, and you're part of Team Acne. I'll see you skin bosses in the very next video.